Hi, how are you? I was thinking about the other day about how to utilize Christmas, how to make the best of it. And one way is to really think of it as a holiday and think of it as a time for couples, time for myself and time for my husband, time for us to be together. At least in here, when it's very cold and very dark outside, it's very naturally the time that we are inside, very cozy, and we burn some extra lights and maybe candle and maybe fire in the fireplace. So it's kind of romantic, even if we don't emphasize it or try very hard. And there are few extra holidays, hopefully, for everyone. Of course, I understand that there are firemen and doctors and so forth that have to work, but for the rest of us. So, what would be a better time to reconnect, to be together? And there are so many things that you can do during Christmas time. It doesn't matter if you are home. Of course, if you are just with your spouse and you don't have children, then you have all the time in the world. But you can still emphasize it. If you have children, you have a little less time, but it can be arranged. Or if you are entertaining a bunch of relatives, or go to the in-laws. But the basic thing is the same. So I would utilize mornings. Usually we sleep in when at holidays, and children do too. Or they just get up and start playing because they know that there is nowhere to go. But stay in bed for a while. Just cuddle for 10 minutes before you get up and start doing your daily do's, what you have to do. That's, in fact, me and my husband, we do that every morning around the year. So when the alarm clock goes off, or if we are just have waken up before, we just lie in bed for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and talk a little. How did you sleep? And did you have a nightmares or good mares? And just be there. And it's a good way to start a day. Then just like hop up and start doing something. Then you are in that kind of a do it motion all the time. But that's one thing. So if you can arrange, start in the mornings. And don't take your phone. Don't open your phone the first thing that you have your eyes open. That's not a good idea. The couple's time and all the ideas are gone like in a second. So don't do that. Take 10 minutes and then just after that, open your phone and do what you have to do. And of course, there are lots of things that you have to do during Christmas time. There is extra meals and extra getting the tree and going to put on candles to the graveyard and that kind of things, whatever are your traditions. But when you are running these errands, try to make it so that you go, just you two. If there are relatives in the house, you can put them to babysit. They can do it. Just we have to run this and that errand and we'll be back in an hour. And go and run that errand together. Sit in the car and talk and put away your phone again. Don't read it. Don't like focus on anything else. Just leave time and leave space for talking and being together. And of course, if you have a bigger children, so you can leave them at home for a while, or you have extra time, then take a walk. I find that taking a walk outside, even though it's very cold and very dark, with my husband when it's a holiday, and if we go for a walk every day, it becomes that kind of a habit. And when you walk, you talk about different things. that you talk when you are at home, or you sit around the table or sit in a car. Walking is totally different thing. So if you have, let's say, even 3 days holiday, if you go for a walk about an hour each day, you have 3 hours time together, like really just to be like you and me, and not the whole world and not the whole shebang. And of course there are things that you should avoid, so try to keep the working life out of your holidays. So don't talk about work, don't talk about problems, unless they are that kind of problems that you really want to like talk in a constructive way, in that kind of way that you can solve this issue when you are both like well rested and in good mood. But not if you start to handle something very heavy, then it's not a couple's time, then it's on the contrary, and then you don't want to go to walk together the next day. And of course there are evenings, so it's a similar thing than in the morning. So get in bed early in the evening, don't watch TV, put away phones, put away computers, put away everything else, and just be with each other, talk, cuddle, laugh, be authentic, be who you are, and see what happens. I don't mean by these, there are in very many cases men and women understand this time together very differently. So men expect intimacy like right away, and women expect cuddling and good humor and being together, and then maybe intimacy, and then they feel even better. But I don't mean that in Christmas, if it's not in your both of you the priority, that you will arrange time for intimacy as much as you can. Although it's a good bonus, I don't say that, but it usually doesn't lead to very good endings, because then it comes a chore, and totally this thing about being together and having time together, it shouldn't be like we have to do this. So we have decided that we go for a walk every day for an hour, and we do that. And now we are walking and we are doing this thing that we were supposed to do. It usually doesn't work. But if you walk, it actually might. Because the first one is like compulsory walking, and then it might turn out to be something fun. But try to avoid all this kind of have to attitude, that you have to do this and you have to do that, and I have to be with my spouse, and try to be romantic. Because then there is something just around the corner that you wait that you can do, and that's not good. But there are lots of times during Christmas it's a right kind of atmosphere and a little bit romance in the air, and people are usually a little bit nostalgic and in a better mood, because they eat more and they sleep more, so they feel better. Although some people eat too much and then they feel bad, but try to avoid that. I have never understood it, because I don't like the feeling of being overly full. It makes me feel bad and clumsy, and I don't like that feeling. But there are more in Christmas that just a holiday for children. And it is almost everyone says that when you ask about Christmas, they say that it's a celebration for children. And yes, it is, of course. There are the gifts and songs and elves and Santa Claus and everything, and they are for children. But there is time for for moms and dads too. So make sure that when you have the time, once in your life you have a holiday, then take advantage of it. Take a time together and make the most of it. Because these breaks during holidays can carry you long through spring. And of course, there is the habit. If you can form a habit to your head that you will have this couples time whenever you have holiday, whenever there are extra days off, then that's even better. Because let's face it, in our everyday life, it's very hard to, like, you're tired and you have already lost your energy to something, and the week is so long and the weekend is so short. You really can't be fully present like you would want to be. But during holidays and during Christmas, you may be better. You may feel better and you may feel more alive. And one thing that I would say, I know that this divides people very heavily, but I want to wash my hair and put a little bit of makeup and a little bit of lipstick, and I know that I look a little bit prettier when you can easily say where my eyes and my lips are in my face. But there is the other part that I also feel more presentable. I feel better when I put on something a little bit myself. And that's one thing. If you put on pretty clothes or pretty negligee or something, you feel more sensual just by thinking about it, and just by dressing yourself, and just by putting a little bit on your lips. And why not use that? Why not use that our head is built that way, that we can use something extra to make us feel better and make us have more fun. And that's something that people forget, especially, of course, if you have small children. You're tired, so when they go to sleep, you just cannot bother. But that's a different thing. If you are that tired, you are that tired, and then it's just better to lie down. But those were a few thoughts about how to make the most of Christmas as a couple. I hope you try some. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.